Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today we're going to be showcasing some battles sent into the channel by our good friend Jamie Finn here, showcasing a brand new triple Shadow team from this season. We're going to be rocking with Shadow Toxicroak, Shadow Glalie, and Shadow Froslass. In this video we have a lot of really good sweeps. Jamie is very well known for hitting Legend and doing very well with very glassy Pokemon. In this video we're going to see the importance of managing energy, counting, and even if you're not using the most meta Pokemon, you still can do very well in Go Battle League. Let's hop on into the battles. Before we do, I'm going to leave a link to Jamie's channel in the description down below. Jamie makes very funny shoutcasts and he uses mainly glassy and shadow Pokemon, so I highly recommend checking him out. And once again, big thank you Jamie for the footage here. You're also going to see in this video that losing lead does not mean losing game. Shadow Toxicroak in the Great League is not exactly a meta Pokemon that picks up a lot of good leads, and in the first couple of battles we're going to be using Mudshot. So first game, Annihilate Blade, right? We're on Mudshot, so the good thing is we can start to outpace this Pokemon a little bit. You can see that even though we resist counters, they're absolutely ripping through us. The opponent gets off the first move here and we're going to look to overfarm and most likely go for back-to-back moves. As you can see, this team is quite weak to Skarmory, so the first couple of battles are going to be with Mudshot, and then I think Jamie was probably not having the greatest time against Skarmory, so switched over to counter. We go for a very nice catch, and by the looks of things, Froslass is the safe swap on this team, and also the damage sponge. The opponent comes into a Charge-a-Bug. We see him pay the opponent on the potential Discharge, and what could be the potential Avalanche. Sometimes, throwing in good timing is the best idea, but in this situation, you want to get off your move as soon as possible, and actually, by the looks of things, the opponent got a one-turn swap coming in, so we were able to just outpace, and they're on Crunch, which is quite interesting. They definitely could have went for X-Scissor and that would have KO'd. Now, the opponent gets to these moves in 3 Volt Switches and then 2 for the second one, which means that we can do 3 and for the charge move. If the opponent shields, we can go for CMP time, so the opponent is forced to let it go. We get a perfect overfarm, and that is really key when you're using glassy Pokemon. If you can take these sort of skills, learn how to play optimally, and then use meta Pokemon, it's a huge advantage. Now in this situation, it's just unfortunate. These Pokemon are just a little bit too on the glassy side, and Nihilape is just going to punch us the whole way down. We do try to get to 2 moves here, but unfortunately there's just not a whole lot we could have done against that team. Good games well played, and hopping into the next one, we do have a Null or Annihilate Blade. Now since we're in Mudshot, we will outpace to the moves. Oftentimes Annihilate is now running Night Slash. We'll see what the opponent wants to throw. We're going to go for a huge overfarm, and that should allow us to take this matchup here. They do go for an Ice Punch, so that means we will definitely be able to overfarm. Now the opponent is going to have to make a call here. Of course, if this is a Shadow Ball, this is going to absolutely one-shot, and the Mud Bomb would do a lot of damage as well. So the opponent's going to go for an overfarm, and we go for a Simul Swap. The opponent trying to catch a Mud Bomb and Gligar. So you can see that both players are counting, keeping track of energy, and they both go for the catch at the exact same time. So that's how you know you're playing some high-level battles here. And we're going to go for a Zero Bubble here. The health range that they're at, we couldn't have farmed it the whole way down, and we would have taken far too much damage. Now at this range, we can still threaten a move, and the Annihilate will be basically forced to throw their energy here. Annihilate comes back in, they're still fairly healthy, we do have a lot of energy on the Toxicroak, so we're more than happy to let this go. The opponent will unfortunately not quite KO us there, and get an extra counter frame. However, we're going to go straight for this move. We're almost at 100 energy, so no need to go for much extra farm here, plus the opponent just threw their move, so they should be getting pretty decently dry. Now even though we resist counters, Shadow Toxicroak does not know the meaning of resisted. That does take them out, which actually quite surprised me the first time I seen that, and in comes the Shadow Whiscash. Now, having watched this gameplay already, I was super impressed with Glalie. They tanked that pretty decently. Glalie, of course, is in general a little bit bulkier than Froslass. The one thing that holds this Pokemon back a little bit is it's on Ice Shard instead of Powder Snow. If they give this Pokemon Powder Snow, I think Shadow Glalie would be preferred over Froslass in a lot of cases. The one great thing about Froslass is with its Ghost subtyping, you still resist counter, but Glalie is definitely a little bit more bulky, and with it being a Shadow, it'll give you that extra damage, so it can be quite decent in certain cases. We do go for a catch here, unfortunately because the opponent got a one-turn swap, they ended up throwing the charge move in between our Mudshot. A little bit unfortunate there, we're going to go straight for the Shadow Ball, not messing about. Poliwrath is quite thick and they can live this move, so generally a lot of players' rule for baiting is, if the opponent can live the move, it's generally a little bit of a risky bait, and a lot of really good players, when they know they live the move, let it go. As you can see, Jimmy oftentimes lets these moves go, because he knows he can live them, and sometimes you have to try to measure in your mind, how much value am I getting out of the shield? If I shield this move, am I going to be able to get off 2 moves before they get off their next move? You have to measure that. Unfortunately, the game not working properly did not allow us to come in and go for a CMP tie. However, we're actually going for a CMP, but we lost CMP. Toxicroak is one of the most attack-weighted Pokemon in the Great League and easily wins CMP. So pretty unfortunate there. The opponent gets off a last second move as well. This is just super unfortunate. I think Jamie went for the undercharge. It was just slightly too much, unfortunately, there, and yeah, we just top left. Things like that happen in this game. I had a similar situation, I think 2 seasons ago, where my Sableye lost CMP to a Noctowl. But even with that bad thing happening, Jamie still looked for a win con. He went for the undercharge, went for the farm down. Just unfortunately, we weren't able to make it, and yeah, hopping into the next battle, we've got Froslass on the Trevenant, the opponent had a Mantine lead, which does pretty decently into our entire team. And we generally safe swap Frostlass here because, again, it resists counter, it's a little bit faster to the charge moves, and it can threaten a shield off most things in the meta. Now in this situation, we're up 2 shields, and the opponent goes for a move here. Jimmy makes a very brave call here, looking to put it all in Glalie. The opponent goes for a Seed Bomb, and what we decide to do here is go for the resisted Mud Bomb. Had we went for the Shadow Ball, I think we would have got Shadow Claw down, and we just need to get this damage through. Once again, the game is not operating the way it should. We should have got that Ice Shard through. Unfortunately, the game just did not register it in time. So the opponent got like some sort of new mechanic or like some sort of weird one-turn swap or something there. A little bit unfortunate, because we threw the charge move and swapped, so it should have been a 0-turn swap, which means our Ice Shard damage should have applied because the opponent done a Shadow Claw. We do build up energy and go for the Avalanche, which one-shots the Mantine, and now it's Glalie versus Charjabug in the one shield. We are up a little bit of energy, so we're going to see how this goes. Now this Charjabug must have missed out on the community day. They're not on Volt Switch, unfortunately for them. Spark, a little bit less positive for them. The pace of the moves a little bit slower. I believe it's 7 for Discharge, and 6 for the X-Scissor. We do go for a CMP tie here to clutch out this win. This Avalanche will one-shot the Charjabug from 50%, and that's a good game. Once again, guys, you're seeing that, you know, even though he's picking up negative leads, he's managing energy and finding some sort of an advantage on the swap. Oftentimes, you know, a lot of people think lose lead, lose game. You have to look no further than this. We're losing lead, and we're using some of the most glassy Pokemon in the entire game, and still managing to, you know, use good game mechanics and pick up wins in very, very difficult matchups. Now, unfortunately, here we don't make the second move. I do want Jamie to comment down below what your IVs are with Frostlass. Of course, Jamie picked this up this season, being a content creator that showcases mostly Shadow Pokemon. He basically showcases the first ones he can get right. I do think if that was a higher ranked Shadow Frostlass, it probably would have got to the move. Mud Bomb coming in, we do go for an undercharge to try and get a little bit of extra energy, and we're going to go for the aggro swap here. Whenever you're at this low health, there's no point letting the opponent farm you down. You just swap straight out and try to sweep with your back Pokemon. We're going to let this first move go, and we'll see if the opponent wants to respect the Avalanche. Shadow Glalie definitely hits like a truck, and yeah, unfortunately again, they just come into a hard counter, which sometimes you're going to get games like that and there's just no winning them. But we've seen a few times already that it is possible to overcome these at times. However, sometimes whenever you just have straight RPS back to front, there's no way of winning it. A lot of people have been making videos about the algorithm recently. I just want to say that even if there wasn't an algorithm, whether there is or isn't an algorithm in this game, it doesn't really matter if you believe in it or not. You know, the chances are 50% of the time you're going to get positive leads and 50% of the time you're going to get negative leads. Or you could look at it this way: 33% positive, 33% neutral, 33% negative. No matter what, you're going to have to face Pokemon that are good against your Pokemon at certain stages. What you need to do is try to get some sort of an advantage in the middle game, whether it be a shield advantage, or if possible, both shield advantage and a farm down with your opening Pokemon. And that means whenever the opponent brings back in their hard counter to your lead, you can look to fire off charge moves and be ahead in that situation, potentially land a move or get the opponent's final shield and look to try and sweep with your final Pokemon. You seen in that last game, you know, sometimes it just isn't possible, but right here we're getting a huge farm down on the Gligar. The opponent's coming back in with Dugong. We're going to look to fire off Shadow Ball number 1, and this should be basically curtains for the opponent. We will reach a second Shadow Ball. The opponent will most likely go for a Drill Run. Of course, it's not going to KO from here. We've seen that Glalie actually can live moves pretty decently, so this was like a hard counter game, right? We had a Gligar in the lead, with Poliwrath and Dugong in the back. That's a very, very bad team for this, but because of perfect energy management and getting an advantage in the middle game, we're able to take that win. Once again, very negative lead, we come into the Frost. The opponent's a little bit slow in the swap here, and again, that's a slight advantage you can take. We're going to go for CMP time, perfectly counting here up to the Scald. The opponent might want to respect this move. Shadow Ball would do a lot from here, and we do get the attack boost. Now Jamie's going to make another fantastic call here, betting that the opponent shielded up because they want to get the debuff through. That means we actually get to the second Shadow Ball. We're once again going to go for the CMP tie. If you're on track with energy like this, it means that you can easily let your Frostlass go now. The opponent's not over farming, they're not farming you down. You're getting the opponent's final shield, and it means it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to actually take out your Toxicroak. We're back in counter with Toxicroak, and what we can look to do is either go for this move straight away, or shield once farmed down. Jamie decides he does not want to get debuffed. Personally, I probably would have just shielded once farmed it down, because you're going to have to swap back out when the Gligar comes anyway, so like the debuff is kind of irrelevant there. I guess we do want to keep 2 shields for Glalie, and we're going to see what it can do here. We go for an Avalanche, that takes that out, and back in comes Gligar. As you can see, lose lead, win game. Once again, another negative lead for Toxicroak. Not absolutely horrible because of course counters add up as well. We do go for a very nice catch in Frostlass, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do. Now, if you've seen these teams, it's normally Whiscash and Skarmory. The opponent does come into Skarmory. Unfortunately, once again, we do make it to the move, which is kind of huge. This could potentially be an Avalanche, which would do a lot of damage to Skarmory. They do let it through, knowing that they can live the move. And I think our win con here is to probably come in with our Toxicroak. Now because these counters are neutral, we probably can shield it once and farm it the whole way down. These counters are absolutely tearing through the Skarmory. So as you can see, we've lost switch advantage, but we've got an absolute ton of energy. So almost anything that comes in here has to shield a move. The opponent comes into their Gligar, we go for an instant swap here into Glalie, and the opponent's actually saying in to get off a move. Now I'm not too sure with the footage being sped up, but I think that was only 5. So we're letting this move go. It's actually a Night Slash, the opponent's fishing for the boost, and then they come back into their Whiscash. Now we're up energy. We have a ton of energy stored on the Toxicroak. Avalanche number 1 coming through. We just need to get the second Avalanche off to try and get the opponent's final shield here. We can't really deal with it with Toxicroak just yet. We're going to go for one and fro for good timing here. Oftentimes it is, really worthwhile going for good timing. The opponent did not overfarm too much here, and they're going to go for a Mud Bomb. Had the opponent overfarmed a little bit, it could have been getting a little bit dicey, but Toxicroak easily wins CMP. Well, it's supposed to. It's supposed to win CMP. We've seen earlier in the video that that's not always the case for some reason, but once again, Jamie's just turned this game on its head. Very, very negative lead. Negative swap as well, but we do manage to take the advantage, and Toxicroak is a Gligar counter confirmed. Now this is a horrible, horrible lead. Jellicent, we're going to be doing very well to get out of this one. And the opponent's obviously going to go for a Surf, and that's why Jamie's not going to shield it. So once again, horrible lead. This beats our whole team handily. But we're going to look to go for Shadow Ball here. Not messing around. The opponent can easily live this move, and we're going to look to swap into Frostlass, or Glalie at this point. Probably not coming into Frostlass because we take super effective from the Hexes, and Glalie is a little bit tankier. Once again, we're playing our win con, and no shielding the Surf. Had the opponent went for Shadow Ball, that probably would have came very close to KOing. Now we're in a situation where the opponent's actually showing their hand is a little bit weak to ice here. They're not swapping out. We go for a pause. So what you sometimes want to do is pause the turn, make sure you see the opponent's fast move coming through before you throw the charge move. That means that they cannot catch. If you throw in the middle of their animation, it's completely impossible for the opponent to catch your move. We go for the charge attack priority and we take it out. Now in comes Whiscash, we don't quite get to the move. However, we do force the opponent to throw their energy here, which is absolutely perfect. The opponent goes for a Mud Bomb here, and it's basically Frostlass time. Frostlass up a shield, unless there's a Skarmory, is pretty deadly. And if we can get boosted, we actually might be able to deal with the Skarmory as well. We go for an amazing catch here, and once again, pay attention, we're pausing the turn and letting the Mudshot come through first before throwing this charge attack. That eliminates any possibility for the opponent to catch, and that means their Whiscash is basically gone. Because if the opponent catches on something, we could throw the charge move, but it means that they're probably going to get to the charge move as well, and it eliminates any chance of over-farming and coming back out with the energy. Of course, the Whiscash would have stored the move, and that would have been just a lot of trouble for us. We're up against Skarmory here. We're going to go straight for the triple axle here, which will threaten a lot of damage, of course, if it wasn't Avalanche, and it may allow us to get to the second move. Now, the opponent actually gets scared here and throws off the charge attack, so we're in a decent position here again. We can probably come in with Toxicroak, shield once, and try to counter this the whole way down. However, we are very glassy, so we do decide to go for CMP time. The opponent will either have to give up their second shield, or look to, of course, let that go down. We're up 2-1 shields, and again, we're looking to go for the aggro swap straight away. We're up a shield with Glalie, and we're going to see if we can sweep. The Wisdaddy Cash comes back in, throws off the charge attack. We do have 2 shields, and we're going to call the bait here. I would have shielded that all day. The opponents do love going for the debuff in that situation. They come into a Lickitung, and I found this matchup quite interesting. A Shadow Avalanche does around 50% to a Lickitung. That is absolutely just ludicrous damage right there. And we're going to, of course, look to shield this move, and look to go for another charge attack. It might be possible if we can maybe get to 2 moves on Toxicroak, or the opponent even lets that go. We actually might be in a decent position here. The opponent actually throws a charge move. This is basically a farm down race. We're not going to get to 2 charge moves on the Toxicroak. We do let that go, and we're going to look to try and counter it the whole way down. We just about win that on 1 HP. Once again, overcoming the odds and getting that win. Good games well played. Now we have another Gligar lead. I swear, Jamie's on hard mode right now. Jamie's account is on hard mode, but the opponent doesn't actually have a great answer to the Frostlass safe swap. They come into Annihilate. We do go for this potential Avalanche. It is the triple axle. Once again, that's going to boost us the whole way up. And I think we're going to shield this one move. I do like this because if we can look to get both shields off the opponent, we'll be in a decent position. We're going to go straight for the charge attack, not messing around. We want to boost our attack as quickly as possible. Whenever you're using a buffing and debuffing move, right, triple axle buffs your attack. You want to get it off immediately to buff your attack immediately to start applying more damage. Again, with a debuff, you want to apply the debuff immediately so that you're taking less damage from their moves. The opponent goes for a charge attack. We're just going to let this move go. It is a Night Slash, and we're going to look to go for a CMP time. By the looks of things, the opponent was going for a bait, looking to get some guaranteed damage for in the Toxicroak. A little bit greedy by the opponent. In comes Glalie, and back in comes Clodsire of all things. Do we actually have a chance to win this game? We're going to go for a huge overfarm, and that's absolutely perfect. We're going to look to go for a Zero Bubble in this move, just to make sure we get enough energy to deal with the Clodsire. Maybe a little bit too much of an overcharge, but we should be perfectly fine here. We're going to let this move through. We need to save the shield for the potential Stone Edge. In comes this thing. They see what's coming. That Avalanche would have done a ton of damage. We would have farmed them down and that would have been good games. And in the next match, we don't get a terrible lead. This is a lead we can actually stay into. Opponent comes into a Gligar. This is absolutely perfect. The opponent does not even threaten the big move. If you're looking to get the shield off the opponent, you definitely need to threaten the big move here. We're going to be able to farm it the whole way down, and that's going to put us in a fantastic position here. 1 and fro in the Avalanche. 3 turns versus 2 turns. You go for 1, 3, and 5, odd numbers, and we're going to hopefully look to get to this next move. Unfortunately, the opponent does counter us the whole way down, and they do have a shield advantage. We do go for a CMP tie here. This would do a lot of damage to the Annihilape if they decide to let it go. The opponent shields it and respects the move, and I think at this point, we're probably happy to let this go. Frostlass up 2 shields, unless it's a fire type or a Skarmory, should be fine. Now, the opponent baited, so we decide to stay in and get them to throw the rest of their energy before we swap. Now we swap, the opponent's dry, we come in with Frostlass here, we look to basically shield up once. Yep, of course we have to respect pretty much any move this throws, and we're going to look to overfarm as much as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 before they get to the move, and I believe that was actually a pause. I think that might have been a free and pause right there. Triple Axle coming through, boosting the attack, and in comes Bulky Azumarill. Now we're up a shield. Again, this is 2 turns versus 3 turns, so we throw on 1, 4, and 7 for good timing. Jimmy for in 7, and a boosted Shadow Ball just does so much damage. The opponent is correctly committing to the farm down, that's their only win con at this point, but unfortunately for them, we do reach a last second Shadow Ball, taking out the Azu, and that's good games. So once again guys, energy management, and trying to just manage the situations as well as possible, even though you're using these glassy Pokemon, designating shields correctly. Just min-maxing every situation allowed Jimmy to get a lot of those wins, which otherwise a lot of players wouldn't have. I'm going to put a chart up on screen which is going to show you move timing that I made. Screenshot this and keep it if you're looking to learn move timing. Very, very important. It means that you're getting extra energy, and the opponent is not getting extra energy and damage when you're throwing your charge attacks. And also, if you're fairly new to Go Battle League, I highly recommend using PvPoke and Pokemoves.com. If you're unsure of the counts for your opponent's charge attacks, using PvPoke and Pokemoves will allow you to learn the counts, and also PvPoke will show you which Pokemon win CMP and stuff like that, so I do highly recommend using them resources. But thank you very much to Jamie for the gameplay, I very much enjoyed it. This was actually a re-upload. I wasn't too happy with the last video, and I thought that this video could be really good for an educational video. Jamie just has exceptional energy management and game sense, and I feel like there's a lot to be learned from this gameplay. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe. Check out Jamie Finn in the description down below, fantastic content creator, and a good friend of mine. Go check him out in the description down below. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed, and hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.